Welcome to Dark Side of BEASTwriter. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be breaking down, catching up on news. There was a lot of news that's been reported, and obviously a lot of free agent signings when it comes to the silver and black. We're going to go ahead and break that down. We want to peel back layers of the onion to really get to the core, as I always like to say in my live streams and my static videos and everything in between, because we want to leave no stone unturned, right? When we go out and put analysis up on Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be, you better back it up with factual information. And that's where the analytics come into play. So I see a lot of people, not just with the Raider fan base, but, you know, whatever favorite team you cover, you're always going to have some sort of, you're going to feel some sort of way, whether or not it was the right move or the wrong move. But again, we always grade the snap, not the box score here in the DOB. I'm going to talk to you about why GM Dave Ziegler has made some very good, underrated moves, despite conventional wisdom and despite conventional thinking of going out and paying for these highly prized free agents that you're going to be, again, buying a stock at its high, and you really don't want to do that, right? So again, you have to see value in what you're getting, exactly where you're getting it at. So again, there's a lot of accounting that comes into play, a lot of financial deals come into play where you look at the contract and it's front loaded as opposed to being backloaded and everything. So there's a lot of different parameters when we talk about just that in general. So again, you're going to get all that here in the DOB. We're going to leave no stone unturned. Like I said, we're going to kill multiple birds with one stone. And we're going to talk about why all of these moves, for the most part, make sense. Now, some of these moves were like, kind of like, but I can see why the moves were made. We're going to go ahead and break that down, right? So I'm not going to say that every move I was in favor of, because that would just be biased, right? And we're not biased here at all in the DOB. We are unbiased as possible, giving you unfiltered content found nowhere else on the web. All right, straight from the DOB. All right, so we are also going to be launching our giveaways. As you guys know, we run giveaways for all you guys. And so what we do is I go out and get some of the silver and black swag that you all come to love. This is a Raiders helmet. And this is like $34.99 plus taxes and everything. I have to ship it out to you guys, but we're going to run this giveaway. It's obviously, you can see it's NFL licensed, and we're giving out a couple of these once we hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, once we hit 9,000 subscribers on Instagram, and then once we also hit what was the other one? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Once we hit 13,000 on Twitter, we're about 300 off on all those goals. You can get that in like one day. So all you have to do in building up the engagement and helping out me here in the DOB is to share all the social media content, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case may be. And again, it's all for you guys. Like, the bigger we get here in the DOB, the bigger the prizes, right? And again, if you guys follow me from my days from the San Francisco 49ers, as I enter year 2, obviously coming from the Raiders, covering the Raiders, but coming from the 49ers, I have season tickets in section 134. I just give those away. And those are prime seat locations. You're not talking about nosebleed seats. And it's not just one ticket. You're getting a pair of tickets. So Niner fans know how I do it. I always give back. That's how I'm always going to be. So if you see me coming out of the black hole or out of the tunnel on game days, or see me walking around and you know, you guys want to engage with me, I'm totally for it, man. I'm not one of those guys that's like, nah, man, like, who are you? Like, blah, like, nah, man, that's just bad vibes all the way around. But just a little backstory about me and what we're all about here in the DOB. We do things a little bit different. Everyone has their own flavor, and hopefully you guys like the flavor that we provide here in the DOB. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the news. Again, this is kind of questionable, right? So why, in your mind, in everyone's mind, why did GM Dave Ziegler go ahead and trade tight end Darren Waller, right? Like, why? Like, why would he do that? Why would GM Dave Ziegler trade his best tight end by far, head and shoulders above the rest of any tight end, for a 3rd-round pick to the New York Giants? I mean, when you look at it for what it really is, people will say, "Oh, that's a bad move. That's a horrible move. Trading Darren Waller. We could have got a 2nd-round pick. It was reported that we could have got a 2nd-round pick for the Green Bay with the Green Bay Packers, or whatever the case may be, and that was his return on that was his value." But then again, at the time, you guys got to remember, let's peel back layers and to really get to the core. At the time, in real time, if you trade Darren Waller at that time, at the trade deadline, you're basically saying and throwing the white flag, hey, this season's over. And then all the Derek Carr fans are going to be like, hey, look, Derek Carr didn't have Darren Waller. It was sabotage. So I don't think that the Raiders, Coach McDaniel, I don't think they wanted to throw in the white flag, right? I don't think they wanted to throw in the towel. So obviously you're going to keep Darren Waller and see what you have before going ahead and shipping him out. So again, there's layers to this, right? Like from a GM perspective, from a coaching perspective, you take out Darren Waller out of the equation midseason, look out. And so that's why I think that the choice to go ahead and make this move was after this in the offseason, and why the move was made. There's different layers to this. We're going to go ahead and break that down right now. All right. But I see the comments coming through here. Thank you, everyone, for giving me support and showing me love. We have Kavi Kapoor says, who do we take at 7? Do we trade down to 12 or 15 for even more draft capital? This is something I predicted would happen. This is something that I think logically will happen unless there's a player that falls to them that's a can't miss prospect. That's just maybe like 1 or 2 on their big board, right? We talk about Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, their vertical board versus the horizontal board, and how the two kind of have to mirror each other on the valuation versus evaluation on putting a grade on the player based on positional needs, and then what other teams are needing, right? So like you can't just go ahead and plug and play players based on the mock draft and say, the Detroit Lions need a running back, so let's just plug in Bijan Robinson, like in one of these first round picks. Like, oh no, Brad Holmes is probably not going to do that. Watch me be wrong now, but no, you take that into account. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, like logically, the running back position is not highly valued as it was in years past, right? There's the Barry Sanders of today is going to be very different from the Barry Sanders of Barry Sanders, right? Like the game has transcended into a pass happy NFL league, and so yada yada yada. Like we all know where this is going. But yeah, I think I went on Raider Nation Radio and I talked about it, and they asked me, hey, look, what's going to happen? I said, I really like this Peter Skoronski kid out of Northwestern. You guys follow me on Twitter. I've been high on Peter Skoronski dating back to week 11 of the NFL season. People are like, why are you talking about the draft? The draft's not here yet. I'm like, man, well, you know how much legwork you have to do in watching college prospects throughout the year? Just think what the scouts do. They have to do that year round. Like for me to kind of shift my focus to NFL and then college midway through the season and still stay on top of the daily beat reporting. I mean, you're talking about, like I said, 60, 70 hours work weeks, right? And just evaluating game film and actually coming up with formulating an analysis and then so forth, right? So again, for offensive linemen, there is no box score. There's no, he had a 85% efficiency grade on run blocking or pass blocking, unless you follow PFF or some kind of different grading system. But I have a brain. I like to use my brain. So I formulate my own grading system, and then I formulate my own analysis from that. So again, it's a good baseline, but at the end of the day, like I said, I have a brain. I like to use it. So I think Peter Skoronski is better suited for guard. I talked about it with Daniel Jeremiah, and he sees the same thing. We see a tackle, right? He could be a serviceable starting right tackle, left tackle, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to swing on what side. Obviously, Colton Miller's there on the blind side left tackle, but I think he's better suited at guard. If you plug him in at guard, you get a Pro Bowl guard, plug and play. Let's go. You have Dylan Parham and you have Peter Skoronski there. Now, the question remains to be seen. How many guards since 1990 have been drafted inside the top 10? Talked about on Raider Nation Radio. Not very many, right? You have Kyle Turley from San Diego State. Holla at your boy. You have Chris Neely. You have Chance Warmack that was drafted by the Tennessee Titans. You have guys like Roll Tide Roll. You have other guys like Jonathan Cooper from University of North Carolina that was drafted inside the top 10. I believe it was by the Arizona Cardinals at the time. Mistake me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But all these guards that come into play, you don't really value them as a top 10 pick. Right now, why the case may, again, it goes back to the running back position, prioritizing, what you view him as. That's the question mark with Peter Skoronski. Because if you really think Peter Skoronski can play offensive tackle, you're going to draft that tackle at number 7. But if you think that the teams behind you don't view him as a tackle and you also view him as a guard, you're going to trade back in the cluster of players like the 12, I would say, 12 to 18 range, 12 to 15 range. Get a cluster of players that you believe are going to be available based on certain people's mock drafts, and get a guy that you otherwise wouldn't see value in at the top end of the draft. This is where, again, you can't just, I see all these stupid mock drafts and it's stupid because it's like, nah, man, like that, the GM doesn't think like that. Like you can't just do that. Like, no, like it doesn't work that way. You can't, it's dumb. It's dumb. Like you can try, but it's pointless. And that's why I think a lot of this stuff is clickbait before even free agency comes into play. Cause you see these mock drafts that come out and I get it. You know, we all have to do it, but it's just pointless. Like, okay, what if GM Chris Ballard with the Indianapolis Colts sitting there at 4, what if he went out and got a Jimmy Garoppolo or something? And then it switches the whole thing. Your whole board's effed up, right? It's a domino effect. But you have to understand the dynamics of the other 31 other NFL teams to know exactly what you're talking about with the team that you're covering. That's how I like to do it. Can't speak for anyone else, but that's why I like to do it. That's how I like to do business. So Raiders trade Darren Waller, traded him for a 3rd-round pick to the New York Giants, and they get number 100. Raiders now own 4 top 100 picks in the upcoming draft, 5 picks from trades. Credit GM Dave Ziegler. I mean, GM Dave Ziegler, you got to give this guy credit. Look at all these draft picks he has, all this ammo, and people want to hate on Dave Ziegler. Come on now. He got 2 compensatory picks, rounds in 5 and 6, thanks to the free agent losses and free agent gains. And then again, he went out and got tight end O.J. Howard, right? So why was the move made? I just told you why, right? Darren Waller hasn't been Darren Waller, right? As in 2020. Like he missed 14 games. He wasn't able to stay on the field. So the best ability is durability. If you're not durable, it don't matter how good you are. Like, oh man, you were really good last year, but you only played in half the games. Look, I like Darren Waller. I think he was a top 5 tight end when healthy, but then again, you have to be healthy. So if you're looking at it and you gave this guy a contract and you're saying, hey, we can get a 3rd-round pick in return, kind of reset the market in terms of what we have with our draft value, because there's some guys coming out of the draft like Tucker Kraft and a few other players that I really like. Everyone's talking about Darnell Washington and so forth out of Georgia, but you know, you can find some of these tight ends that fit your system in rounds 3 and rounds 5 of this upcoming draft. Technically, maybe round 2, depending on how the draft board falls at that time in real time. But as it currently stands, I'm thinking out loud here. I think you can find value in rounds 3 through rounds 5. But look, I really like Darren Waller. I wish him well. Great guy, great person. Had nothing but good things to say about Raiders when he was traded. So I really hope, that he does well. And people are asking me, with a Kelsey Plum, if you guys don't follow Kelsey or don't follow Twitter, like she put up something about, won't go into specifics, but you guys can look it up and Google search it yourself. And is that the reason why Darren Waller was traded? I don't know the answer to this. I would say no, but whatever. It is what it is. Apparently Kelsey Plum was not happy that news broke that, or got leaked that Darren Waller was getting married on the same day that Max Crosby got. So I don't know, man. I kind of stay away from that. But people have been asking me. That's why I want to talk about this, because I got so many DMs, so many private messages, because publicly I'm not even go there. So I don't know what's going on. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter anyways right now, because he's off to New York. So who cares? But I wish Darren all the best. Great guy, great person. Great working with him in year 1, covering the silver and black. But yeah, there's a lot of we got my man JD11 in here. He says, yo, Beast, how you been? I've been good, man. How are you? All right. So we're going to go ahead and, again, talk about the reasons why, right? So Darren Waller's gone. They bring in O.J. Howard. Let's go ahead and talk about that as to why they brought in O.J. Howard, right? Why was the move made in bringing a guy like O.J. Howard to the Las Vegas Raiders for, roll Tide roll? O.J. Howard? No, he's 6'6", 251 pounds, coming out of Alabama. Obviously, he was drafted back in 2017, drafted number, I believe it was 19 overall by the Tampa Bay Bucks and Jason Light. I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 2017, number 19 overall. I think I had him mocked in my mock draft I got to go back. I think I would mock him number 17, but no, he was drafted number 19 by the Tampa Bay Bucks. The guy had a 4.51 40-yard dash, had a 6.853 cone drill. So you see the lateral agility and quickness, short area quickness there that you would like from a tight end. He's 6'6", 251, so the height, weight, speed checks off. He also displayed functional strength on the field as an inline blocker. And then also converted that to the workroom in the weight room, right? 22 reps of 225. I mean, that's pretty good numbers, right? At 251, right? That's basically benching 25 pounds more than your body weight, which is 22. It's a pretty good number. Now, he had 129 catches for 1,882 yards and 17 touchdowns. Now, if you break down the catches of 129 versus the 1882 yards over the span of his career, it comes out to a 14.6 yards per pop. So yes, when he's healthy, he can kind of stretch the field vertically, but at the end of the day, can he stay healthy? Like, people think that OJ Howard's going to be the answer. Like, no, he's not the answer. Like, people are saying, oh, OJ Howard, first round pick. You saw the NFL Network, not NFL Network, NFL.com, how you get the notification. It says, oh, the Raiders got a first round pick in 2017. And it's like, okay, but what has he done since coming into the league? Look, I like OJ Howard, but he has to stay healthy. So I don't think he's going to be the long-term answer. I think there's going to be some camp competition from the tight end position, especially when you talk about the wide position for Jimmy Garoppolo, who I covered Jimmy Garoppolo with the San Francisco 49ers. And so dating back to those days, his security blanket has always been George Kittle. Single coverage, double coverage, triple coverage, doesn't matter. From the hashes, it's all about George Kittle, right? And more times than not, George Kittle can make a play on the football. So George Kittle, there's no George Kittle on the Raiders. How many George Kittles are there in the NFL? So how is that going to impact Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Because Jimmy Garoppolo kind of needs a strong supporting cast for him to have success. And that's with any quarterback. That's just not with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not a knock on Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, the better talent you have around you, the better off you're going to be, especially starting with the offensive line. Peter Skoronski, Northwestern product. Look, we can talk about this all day. You build up the lines and the rest will fall on both sides of the football. You build teams from the inside out, not the outside in. All right. Good GMs will do that. I'm a hog molly lover, if you will. GM Dave Gettleman reference. You guys don't know who GM Dave Gettleman is. He was the GM of the Carolina Panthers. And then he also became the GM of the New York Giants. Look, I am a hog molly lover. I like them. I like the big guys up front. But anyways, last time I checked, OJ Howard has not racked up more than 200 yards in a single season in a very, very long time. I think the last time he did that was back in 2019. So like I said, I think they're going to need some more reinforcements in training camp, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, talking about Darren Waller and OJ Howard and that dynamic, it's going to be one of those things where, yeah, they're obviously going to be drafting a tight end. If you look at the tight end market, there's not much out there right now. There's not much out there right now. Ryan Rangel says DOB is the best flavor. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys liking the flavor that the DOB brings here. And that's what I say. It's like people say, oh, like, you know, kind of downplay other beat writers or reporters. And I think that's unfair simply because I think everybody brings, again, their own flavor. Like my flavor, not everyone's going to like, you know, oh, you toot your own horn and blah, blah, blah. The beast receipts, cool story. Oh, you work out, you compete, cool story. Oh, you take you know, your fitness, who cares, whatever. But it's like, hey, man, like, that's how I get paid. Like, I wish I had a big network that can back me up so I don't have to toot my own horn and be like, oh, yeah, BEASTwriter said this on X and X. They're not going to do that. So I'm my own sound check guy. I'm my lighting guy. I'm my own producer. I'm the one that makes up all the graphics for my videos. I am this, you know, all this takes time. And then formatting all of that based on the social media platform that you're on so that it fits. Those thumbnails are difficult. All right. So that in itself is difficult. But no, I appreciate it. You know, I like to bring a different flavor in terms of predicting stuff and predicting the future, because I can't speak for anyone else, but how I built up my time with the 49ers and now with the Las Vegas Raiders is the Beast receipts check out more times than not. And that includes mock drafts. That includes what teams are going to do. I have grades on all 32 NFL teams. So when that comes around, I already have no drop off in production on what GMs might be doing. And then obviously, again, we're going to talk about how you guys should not you specifically, how Raider Nation should not be so hard on GM Dave Ziegler and Coach McDaniels. And I said this even before Mr. Davis said an empire wasn't built in a day. I said that. Those exact words came out of my mouth this time around last year. Like, you're going to have to give it a time. There's a process. And we made it to the playoffs last year. And It's like, look, how many of those games were like won in the closing moments or closing seconds of a ball game? Like, let's not get it twisted. So if the ball flipped the other way this year, then all would be forgotten, right? If they would have, I mean, come on. But it just didn't happen that way. And that's football. Now, to go out and say, oh, GM Dave Ziegler should be fired, or oh my, it's like, bro, what are you smoking? I'm just saying, let's go ahead and like I said, you guys want to know what I bring to the table. You guys like my flavor. I'm going to give you my flavor a choice. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the other 31 other NFL teams, Baskin Robbins style. All right, let's go ahead and do that. By the way, I kind of miss Baskin Robbins. I haven't found the Baskin Robbins here in Las Vegas. Mint chocolate chip, my favorite, all-time favorite. Cookie dough is pretty good too. But we can talk about that later. If you're just tuning in, you're like, why are you talking about Baskin Robbins? That's so weird. I thought we were talking about Darren Waller here. No. So let's go ahead and talk about that, right? Let's go ahead and talk about why you shouldn't be so hard on GM Dave Ziegler, right? And I wanted to point this out. You look at around the free agent signings, okay? Now, there's 45 of you guys watching here on StreamYard that I can see. I don't know the other social media platforms I'm on. It doesn't keep track, but give this video a thumbs up, like it, and that will help the algorithm a lot here on YouTube and push it to other Raider Nation like yourself to go ahead and be a recommended video. So if you like it, give this video a thumbs up. It would really do me a solid. Also, if you want to support the channel and you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, there is a stars function on Facebook Live. There is also a YouTube function called a super chat and super sticker. It's a money icon in the description box below in the comment section. So be sure to go ahead and hit that. Also, you guys can go ahead and shoot. I've been getting Venmo donations as well. My Venmo is linked in the description box below on YouTube as well. So just want to put that out there because people want to see how I support. And when I end the video, it's like people are asking me afterwards. So I feel like I have to get that in. And like I said, you don't have to do that. Just give it a thumbs up. That just is just as good. You know, I understand money's tight. So let's give this video a thumbs up if you like it. That is free. All right. But let's go ahead and talk about the other 31 other NFL teams. What is Monty Austinfort doing with the Arizona Cardinals? And where does he come from? If you followed back on my live streams earlier or my static videos earlier and rewatched them, and I highly suggest you guys watch those videos so you guys know what I said in real time and look at the dates. Literally look at the dates of when I post things or when I tweet things to hindsight. There's no drop off in production here. I'm telling you. Look what Monty Austinfort did coming from the New England Patriots, right? Now with the Arizona Cardinals. People are getting mad at GM Dave Ziegler for bringing in Patriot players. Well, what is Monty Austinfort doing? Right? He allowed Coach Gannon, who has ties from Philadelphia, to go ahead and sign who? Wide receiver Zach Pascal. All right. So let's go ahead and really talk about it. So when people say, oh, Jacoby Myers and Philip Dorsett from the Patriots, and that's the reason Coach, look, other GMs are doing it too. So it's not like it's just all on GM Dave Ziegler, right? I mean, let's really be honest about that. What did the Atlanta Falcons do? Last time I checked, they traded for Jonnu Smith, right? And he has coached to who? He has ties to who? Coach Arthur Smith from their time in where? The Tennessee Titans, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Sticking with the Tennessee Titans, what did new GM Rand Carthon do, who was obviously with the 49ers before? And who did he bring in? Who did Rand Carthon bring in from the Tennessee Titans? Taking over for John Robinson. Come on, let's talk. Aziz Al-Shaair and Daniel Brunskill. All right? So people want to say, oh man, GM Dave Ziegler just bringing Patriot guy. Hey, other GMs are doing it. Look what the Houston Texans are doing. What does Nick Caserio do? Allowing new head coach, D'Amico Ryans, who was the defensive coordinator at where? The San Francisco 49ers, now with who? The Houston Texans. And who did he bring in? My guy, Jimmy Ward, from their time with the San Francisco 49ers. And then you have Derek Carr. We all know what happened to Derek Carr going off to New Orleans Saints because of his ties with who? Coach Allen during his time with who? Then the Oakland Raiders. And then Casey signed who? GM Brett Veach went on and said, okay, Orlando Brown Jr., you can go elsewhere. I think it was to the Cincinnati Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere. And we're going to go ahead and sign Jawan Taylor. Well, let's go ahead and peel back layers to get to the core. Where does Jawan Taylor come from? The Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. So when you go around from team to team, you're going to build connections. If you go back and peel back layers of the onion to get to the core, where does Andy Heck come from? The Jacksonville Jaguars. So could there be kind of a dynamic there as an offensive line coach now in KC? Come on, let's talk. So people were saying, oh man, look, you look around the landscape of the entire NFL, every team does it. So it's not like it's bad. Am I wrong or am I wrong? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Look at Raider 58 says, Gruden got his own guys also. Really did. Right? So let's go ahead and talk about those guys. Raiders bolster their wide receiver core with guys like Philip Dorsett, Jacoby Myers, and of course Cam Sims now. Roll Tide roll. If you guys don't know, I'm a big Roll Tide roll fan. Obviously, I went to San Diego State University. Go Aztecs, but I'm a huge Roll Tide roll fan when it comes to college football. All right. But yeah, they went ahead and they got a trio of wide receivers, right? And so I went ahead and broke this down. So when you look at Jacoby Myers and you look at Philip Dorsett and grade the snap, not the box score, they have a 57%, what I like to call move the chain efficiency rate, which is first down catch rate, career. So every other ball is a first down that they catch, right? Both players are also familiar with Coach McDaniel's system. I talked about this on Raider Nation Radio. So there's going to be no drop off in the learning curve from Coach McDaniel's system because they've been in it before. They're very familiar with it. Now, the terminology may be a little bit different because obviously you don't want to keep the same terminology going to a different team because then they'll be like, oh yeah, I know what the keys are. I know what the pre-snap keys are. I know what they're doing. I know the body language. I know the sign language. I know when the guy does this, what it means. I know when the guy does this, what it means. I know when the guy taps his right butt cheek as opposed to his left butt cheek, what that means, inside, outside leverage. I know all those things. I know when I'm the off-ball linebacker and I see Fred Warner going like this. I know what that means when the guy goes in motion pre-snap. Look, every team brings in their own guys. Just like every scouting department brings in their own guys. You know why? Because it comes down to one word: trust. Do you trust the guy that I'm bringing in to do what he's supposed to do? Because if he isn't, that's not the Raider way. There's just one parameter of the Raider way. All right. So that's why I think one of the reasons why Philip Dorsett and Jacoby Myers were brought in. And I like Jacoby Myers. I do. I really like him a lot. I mean, 6'2", 203 pounds, undrafted rookie free agent. He plays with the chip on his shoulder. He's not the fastest guy, ran a 4.63 40-yard dash, but you don't need him to be. He had 37-inch vertical jump, which is amazing. I mean, 37-inch vertical jump, that means he could probably dunk the basketball easily, probably do a 360 if he wanted to. He had a 7.073 cone drill. So when you put that all together, you see a guy that has a lateral agility to gain separation at the top of his stem. When you look at the route tree and you see what these wide receivers, what kind of routes they run, sometimes when you look at college film, it's like, oh, he came out and spread offense. So all they did was line up outside the numbers, and he just ran the 7-8-9 maker, which is a corner, post, or go route, right? And so when you look at that and be like, okay, can this guy sink his hips? Does he run methodical, crisp routes? Does he know how to gain separation at the top of his stem? Does he know how to get off the line of scrimmage and press coverage? Or is he having trouble with it? Because maybe he hasn't seen it a lot in the Pac-12. These are things that scouts look for, all right? And so when it comes to Jacoby Myers, I like Jacoby Myers a lot. I really do. It's not the household name that you would want, like a DeAndre Hopkins that they're trading, teams are trading for DeAndre Hopkins now, or Odell Beckham Jr., which, by the way, I would love Odell Beckham Jr., but Jacoby Myers is a sound play. I like that player. I think he's going to do wonders here in Coach McDaniel's system. I think GM Jay Ziegler did a really good job. Philip Dorsett, not the small, not the tallest guy. He's also not the. I mean, he's fast, but he's not the biggest, right? And so I think when you look at a guy who's 5'10", 185, and I got to interview him when he came here to Las Vegas at Raiders headquarters, here's a guy who's a 2015 first-round pick, drafted number 29 overall, had a 4.33 40-yard dash at I think it was 6.793 cone drill. I got to look that up. 6.7, excuse me, a 6.73 cone drill. But here's a guy who can eat up a cushion in a hurry, right? And I think sometimes people mistake a guy who's small for a guy who's not good. Oh, he's going to get eaten alive, going down, going across the middle. But look, if you're smart and you're small, there's a less of a target area to hit. So if you know how to I'm small, like I'm short. I shouldn't say I'm small, but I am short. I'm only 5'5". All right. So for me to get open, you're going to have to be smart enough, because a lot of these guys are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". So you can win the leverage game by default. And if you oh man, I talked about that. Alex Barnes. We talked about, height and stuff. I was like, man, I'll beat you in the leverage game. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, because I win by default because I'm 5'5". He started laughing. But no, honestly, I like Philip Dorsett. He has elite top end speed, can cut on the drop of a dime. And look, I like what the kid brings to the table. And of course, he can, if he wanted to, he can be a return guy. Like, I can see him as a returner. If you needed him there, I don't think they're going to use him there, but watch me be wrong. Watch him field some punts in training camp. But the guy does have 12 career touchdowns, and he wins the separation game coming from the slot. So when you look at what Philip Dorsett skill set brings from a schematic standpoint, and then look what obviously the Patriots were doing. They had Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman, and obviously we have Hunter Renfrow here, who, by the way, I don't think he's going to get traded. People were asking me, is he going to get traded? Like, I don't think he's going to get traded. But then now watch me be wrong, and watch when this live stream ends, he got traded. And I don't see that. Anyways, getting back to it, you have weapons there, right? You have weapons for Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You have Josh Jacobs there. You also have Devontae Adams. Who can forget Devontae Adams, right? The best wide receiver in the game. That's my opinion. I think Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the game, hands down. I don't think he's even close. That's just me. Oh, you're biased, bro. Okay. I'm definitely not biased. How long have you been following me? Yeah. All right, so we got Sanjo Raider says Jordan Willis looks like a decent pick. Yeah. And if you guys want to know my take on Jordan Willis, when the Niners traded for him back in 2020, I went up and put that up on Twitter. I'll go ahead and repost that video up on the community page so you guys can see that on YouTube. But yeah, check that out. Everything checks out that I said back in 2020 when grading the snap, not the box score. And I like Jordan Willis a lot. I think he is a third down pass rush specialist. I think he has the opportunity to rack up 6 to 8 sacks. Obviously, Andre Carter coached him, my good friend, who obviously coached Neil Farrell with LSU. And look, the guy is talented. Jordan Willis is talented. And for anyone to say that, oh, he's a scrub, like blah, it's like, what film were you watching? You weren't. Because if you YouTube highlights Jordan Willis, it's not going to pop up, because Jordan Willis is not a household name. But does that make him not a good player? No. Let's talk. Let's grade the snap, not the box score, guys. Let's not look for household names simply because we need household names. Do we need to get better on defense? Absolutely. But would I go after a guy like James Bradbury? Absolutely not. Said that here. I said no. He's going to want too much money. Should we go after a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, which Charles Woodson had alluded to? Look, I like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I liked him coming out of Florida. I liked what he brings to the table. I talked about on Raider Nation Radio plenty of times this time last year on comparing what type of skill set he brings to the table when it comes to him, K'Wan Williams, some of these other slot cornerbacks, defensive backs that can also play the role of strong safety, free safety, and then also play in a variety of different roles as a chess piece. Look, I like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or CJ Gardner-Johnson, whatever you prefer. But the question remains to be seen. How much is he asking for? People ask, oh, he turned down a 3-year, $24 million contract, but that was backloaded. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson Jr. is not looking for a backloaded deal. He's looking for a front-loaded deal. I believe he was a 4th-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the run on defensive backs were there. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was one of my favorites coming out of that draft class. I like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He would have been a guy that I would have been in favor of. But look, they got Marcus Epps. Talked about Marcus Epps. I like what he brings to the table. So I can kind of see where they kind of not necessarily cut back. Oh, yeah, they did. They kind of cut back on the financials of it because they saw the value. Because what did Chauncey Gardner-Johnson get? A prove-it deal at $8 million, right? At $8 million. My guy, Daniel Kim says, for our man Beast, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. For our man Beast and the DLB family, powers out where I am and just getting a super to support all the time, effort, and love given the Raider Nation. Raiders, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I spoke with you earlier. I think it was today. I did speak with you on through Instagram. I knew you're back in the Bay doing your thing. Yeah, the Bay Area is not good. Bay Area is not good right now. A lot of flooding. A lot of stuff happening back in where I'm from, San Jose. And yeah, I think there are some freeways closed down, like 101 or something like that. 680. I don't know. One of those. Anyways, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Really means a lot. Really helps with the channel, the algorithm, everything. There's like 48 of you guys watching it. Give this video a thumbs up. It does me a solid and also pushes the algorithm to other like-minded Raider Nation like yourselves because we're trying to grow the channel. Look. It's a startup for me. And so it's kind of like a reverse startup. It's worse than a startup because I'm going from the Niners, covering the Niners for 10 years and then covering the Raiders. It's like, oh, man, you're covering the Raiders. Oh, unfollow. Look at my Instagram. I lost literally lost. I mean, in the span of 2 days since Jimmy Garoppolo's presser, because everyone was watching Jimmy Garoppolo's presser. I guess people didn't know. Like, they weren't keeping up with what I was posting for the past year, like living here in Vegas, covering the Raiders. Some people did, but I guess a lot of people, it wasn't until New Year's, to be honest with you, when the Niners came to town and people were like gearing up for that game. And then people really knew, because I thought I was just going back and forth with somebody. Like, no, man, I don't have that kind of bread to just go back and forth like that. Like I have to no, like that's not possible. Like I ain't rich, bro. So it's funny because when the Niner game happened here at Allegiant Stadium on New Year's Day, I must have, lost 500 followers on Instagram, another 500 followers on Twitter, and then YouTube. I definitely lost around 2,500 followers, probably more, probably 3,000 followers. And then the Raider Nation started to come in and then picked up on my stuff. And you guys have been showing me nothing but love. So the numbers are kind of tailoring back and coming back alive. But it is like a reverse startup. Like the algorithm has switched from Raider content and from 49er content and covering all 32 NFL teams, which I did starting, how many years? I just like talking football, and then just really strictly to Raider content. And so like that dynamic shift is just like that cultural shift there is like, it's great. I love it. I love doing that. I like doing things the hard way. Sometimes it's not, it's not the easiest thing to do, but hey, look, I love doing it. So thank you everyone for supporting me here in the DB. And there's a lot of Niner fans who still rock with me, man, like on Twitter, on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So, like I said, it's a fun time, and I'm just happy to enjoy the ride, man. It's great. It's all good vibes here. And like I said, really, really enjoy living here in Vegas. Raiders have treated me extremely well in my first year, now entering my second year. So, love the people I work with, great people, and they always make me better. So iron sharpens iron mentality is not just alive and well with the Raider way. It's also alive and well in the media workroom too. So really like being pushed, really like going up against the best. And look, there's a lot of good content creators out there. And again, I wouldn't be here without you guys all in my corner. So thank you so much, man. I just want to get that out there. All right. Rich S. Dunn says, Beast, what's going on, man? How are you doing, Rich? Hopefully well. My man, Daniel Kim, says, I'll have to watch on the run back because the internet is spotty because of the outage. Oh man, I am. Look, you're good though. You're good though. You know what? I'll hit you up on Instagram and we'll catch up after this live stream wraps up. Rich says, show these content creators how it's done. Look, I'm learning a lot from people. I like talking about anything. For you guys that don't know, obviously you guys see the logo in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. You see that barbell. If you guys don't know, I do compete in the NPC IFBB League. Um, Obviously an Evogen athlete. You guys see me wearing Evogen, and some of you guys at EOS right here down the street that I work out at now. That's my home gym. You guys know what I bring to the table. But for those who don't know, yeah, I cover the Raiders, my 9 to 5, obviously, or I should say like 24/7. It's a 24/7 job for me. But then aside from that, I also bodybuild, right? And so I also personal train, online coach, and then also compete like as a bodybuilder. So I'm going for my pro card right now on Team Ventura. You guys know who Omar Ventura is. If you guys don't know, look him up, Omar V33 on Instagram. Obviously, he trains the best, like Lucky Libra, Raymond Edmonds, right? So these guys are Olympia winners. And so being on Team Evogen, obviously Hani Ramba, 19 or 21-time Olympia coach now, doing really good things there. And obviously we took first and second here in Las Vegas for Olympia. So very honored. I mean, Evogen's been around so long. I've been taking their supplements all day long, and people are asking me what supplements I take when I work out. And so when I go to the gym, I always give out samples to people that want it and that follow me and support me. So I'm telling you, those guys are hooked. Like they're like buying it now. And if you guys want my supplement list or what I take, it's in the description box below. You just head over to Evogen. If you use my code EVOBEAST, you get 10% off. So a lot of cool stuff coming in, and people are asking me, as a content creator, what am I about? Like, what is the DOB all about? Like, DOB does not stand for date of birth here in the DOB. It stands for Dark Side of BEASTwriter. It could be date of birth too, I guess, but then I would have to put 2022 at the bottom because I just wrapped up my first year here in Vegas covering the team. But no, it's been good vibes only here in Vegas. I love engaging with fans and like helping people live healthier lifestyles, and then also being the best version of yourself in everything you do. And I think that's the most important thing. It's like too many people try to like, I guess you call it a clout chaser. Like, oh yeah, like cool, like, whatever. But if you let your game do the talking, let that be your noise. I think that's the end all be all. Like no better satisfaction. Like if you say you're good, like how good are you really for you to have to say you're good? Like when I go to the gym, half the time I'm just, and the Raiders know this. They work out there sometimes. Look, I come in a hoodie, right? Hoodie and sweats, and I don't, this. And I just go put myself on timeout in the corner and just work out. And then you see people like working out next to me trying to like do this like ego lifting and stuff. And then like, I'm like, man, I'm not even about this life, bro. Like, I just want to work out. And then sometimes it does get hot. So like, obviously I do take it off. And once and it's like all bets are off. Like, it's like, dude, like, I don't know. And then they're trying to up you. It's like, man, why? Like, why? I just don't see the logic in it. I don't see the logic in it. I'm just there to get my gains in and leave, which most people are. But then there's always those handful of people who always want to walk around the gym, chest out, like, I'm just like, I just want to dress up and if I could double sweatshirt and put myself in the corner, you'll find me in the corner, working out, just stay in my lane. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. Now, I do post videos up there for you guys on Instagram because that's how I get paid, obviously. So from the reels on Instagram and obviously my content with Evogen. But, it's one of those things where like it's really just show you guys how to be the best version of yourself in terms of performing some of these compound movements, right? And so I think that's important. So not only will you get football related content here, you'll get obviously fitness related content too. If you want to look your best self, man, I got you covered. 21 Ravage says, random question, what music do you listen to at the gym? That's a great question. I listen to EDM. I am a big Marshmello fan. Marshmello and me go way back. He likes look, my first rave was at Marshmello back at the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. My first TikTok was to Marshmello music. He likes everything that I post that's Marshmello related. Marshmello is my guy. Like I like Marshmello a lot. Never formally met him, but that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Had the chance to go see Marshmello actually. When was that? When he was here. What show was that? I forgot what show it was. Could have gone for free. Turned it down because I was like, nah, I gotta work. I gotta cover the Raiders. But EDM, Martin Garrix, give me some Martin Garrix, throw in some Marshmello in there, throw in some W&W. I was listening to that today. Who else we got? Foster Damas. Give me some floss. I'm all about floss. Alan Walker. I like Alan Walker. Like a lot of good artists out there. But Marshmello, no one beats Marshmello. I could listen to Marshmello all day. Afrojack's always good. Diplo's good. There's a lot. But yeah, I like EDM. That's when you see. I'm not so much into the rap hip hop scene. EDM, that's my flavor. Like I love EDM. I love EDM. I'm an EDM guy. Edgar Bernier says, "Welcome to Raider Nation. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it, and thank you for welcoming me in. I appreciate that." Michael McCann says, "That's why you got to get yourself a nice Planet Fitness membership." Oh my gosh! All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the other things. All right, so if you guys haven't heard the news, obviously we talked about the offense. Let's talk about the defense additions, right? The defense lands a tackling machine. I've been grading Robert Spillane dating back to 2019 when he was at the Titans. Now 2020 he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I graded every single snap of his. Like when I mean every single snap, I mean every single snap. I just love covering the NFL. And so Robert Spillane, there was no guesswork when what they were getting. They're getting a football player. Robert Spillane brings toughness and instinctive. It's like he's a high football IQ guy. I'm just trying to look for the words here, but no, you're getting a tough, physical, instinctive linebacker, very very smart, high football IQ, gets it from the shoulders up, can get everyone lined up. He didn't get his first start until Devin Bush tore his ACL week 6 against the Cleveland Browns, and I asked him when I interviewed him, I said, Robert, you didn't get your chance to start until Devin Bush tore his ACL. Like, how does that help mold your game into the guy you are today from a player's perspective, right? And he said, one man's misfortune is an opportunity for me to really get my shot. And you really saw that. Like Robert Spillane, Raider Nation are going to love Robert Spillane because he could be used in a variety of different ways. He can be used on coverage units. I mean, this guy has a nonstop motor. He has a sideline to sideline presence. Now, pass coverage is something that he needs to work on, right? I'm not going to sit here and lie. But that's with every off-ball linebacker, unless you're Fred Warner, unless you're Roquan Smith, unless you're someone like that. Look, you're going to have problems as an off-ball line. That's just a weakness in their game. Like, you can't ask these guys. That's what makes Roquan Smith so good. That's what makes Fred Warner so good, is these guys can also cover the curl hook, right? So I really like Robert Spillane. I would give a grade of a B+ when it comes to Robert Spillane, because I like what he brings to the table. And again, I graded his every single snap dating back to 2019, which is his rookie year. I mean, he's 6'1", 229 pounds, came out in 2018 with the Tennessee Titans, and then also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2019 on. So Robert Spillane, good player. It's one of those things where if you look for an instinctive, smart off-ball linebacker who really gets it and fits the Raider way mentality, he's going to be that tackling machine that you look for. He's going to lead the team in tackles. He's going to lead the team in solo tackles. I'm telling you right now. Now, he is coming from a 34 base, right? Under Keith Butler, he is coming, and obviously the new DC there. Who's the DC of the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm drawing a blank there. Anyways, gosh, I should know this off the top of my head. Anyways, Keith Butler was mainly his DC, but coming from a 34 base with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think he's going to do wonders for the silver and black. I'm really high on him. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you look back and say, oh man, Robert Spillane is the real deal. Talked about it on Raider Nation Radio, right? And I have a strong conviction about this because, again, I graded the snap, not the box score. When you look at Robert Spillane, number 41, what he brings to the table, he's going to bring that no-nonsense, just football mentality, and he's going to raise everyone else's game up. Why? Because he's going to get them in possession to make plays, pre-snap to post-snap. He's going to do all that film study. That's one thing I talked about with Robert. I say, hey, man, like how much does film study come into play with you being an instinctive linebacker? And look, the slower you are, the more film study you have to do, especially from an off-ball linebacker standpoint. Why? Because you can run a 4.72. You can run a 4.8. But if you know how to read film, read keys, read formations, read tendencies based on down and distance, and then obviously going back and kind of putting that in your brain So when you see that certain formation, or you see that certain play, or you see that down and distance, you know exactly where the ball is going before it arrives. You can kind of cheat that way. You kind of leverage your split that way a little bit, right? And so I think that's why you hear announcers, oh man, he made a nice play there. Yeah, because you watched film more times than not. He's not just, look, if you better be right if you're going to be cheating over. Otherwise, the coach is going to look at you and be like, hey, you're very undisciplined there. What are you doing? Happens. But no, thank you so much, Edgar. I appreciate it for the super chat and super sticker. Look, there's about 39 of us watching right there. Smash the like button, give it a thumbs up, and it will really help the channel, help the algorithm. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter right now, you can retweet this video. It is live. And then other like-minded Raider Nation will see it and be like, who is this BEASTwriter guy who competes? 21 Ravage says, should we get Miles Jack as well? I would say no. I would say no on Miles Jack. I think I like the core that they have. I like Luke Masterson. I like Darian Butler. Talked about it earlier on another Pick 6 live stream. I like the core of linebackers that they have. I like Divine Diablo. People tend to forget Divine Diablo's coming back. Really high on Divine Diablo. Thought he played really well up until his injury. So they have a good nucleus of young core linebackers to work with. And so the draft also, you guys got to remember, I mean, the draft has not happened yet. There's some good off-ball linebackers that you can find in the draft. I like watching Jeremy Banks. If you guys don't know who Jeremy Banks is, out of Tennessee, watched him at the East-West Shrine Bowl during practice and at the games. And so he's one of the guys that really stood out during practice for me. So Jeremy Banks is a guy that I really liked. That really stood out for me at the East-West Shrine Bowl throughout the festivities leading up to the game and obviously in the game. So he's a guy that I really like. You want to talk Shrine Bowl prospects. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Jose Ramirez out of Eastern Michigan. You guys know how I feel about some of those guys like Nehemiah Shelton from San Jose State. You guys know how I feel about Dante Stills, who is a legacy, right? He was on here doing an exclusive interview here in the DOB. Again, you're going to get a lot of exclusive content here from West Virginia. So became good friends with him. So a lot of, obviously, you guys don't know who Jose Ramirez, you guys did now because of the NFL Combine, because he had the fastest 3-cone drill. I think it was 6.7 seconds or something like that. Something like that. Something crazy like that. He had a blazing 3-cone drill. Did really well. I don't know what that number is. I got to go look it up. But he had the fastest 3-cone drill for the positional unit. No surprise here in the DOB, man. I liked Jose Ramirez in practice. So he's a guy to watch during the game, had a really good game. And then obviously we all know what happened, had that strip sack and really had a good ball game there. Yeah, Shelton came up with a big, all the guys, what's his name? Dean from Florida. Trey Dean also had a really good game. Interviewed him. Got to know him, had 2 picks in practice at the East-West Shrine Bowl practices over at UNLV. And then I was like, man, this guy is really good. Not just because of the picks. I just like how he kind of read the quarterback's eyes. And I talked to him about it. And on game day, what he had? He was the MVP, right? So all these guys are coming into play. You know, you look at guys, you know, we want to talk, you know, Fresno State products, right? You know, you got Copper there. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent at that East-West Shrine Bowl. I'm telling you. A lot of talent. Like, I was amazed how good the talent was. But yeah, all these guys are going to be, they're all going to be doing the whatchamacallit, be fighting for draft position. Edgar V says, we pick up Christian. D-Man says, smash the like button. Yeah, smash it. Edgar V says, we picked up Christian Gonzalez. I like Christian Gonzalez. Graded his every snap. Again, when grading the snap, not the box score. I also posted his measurables before the combine took place. Same thing with Nolan Smith. If you guys haven't caught that, see my real-time analysis before the combine. I said both these guys are going to wow. They did. All you have to do is type it up in the search engine here on YouTube. Just write Nolan Smith, BEASTwriter, or Christian Gonzalez, BEASTwriter. You'll see what I had to say about those guys. Also posted all my analysis up on Twitter for you guys on what I thought they would run, what I thought they would hit on the vertical, what I thought that they would have with the 3-cone drill, whatever the case may be, and broad jump and everything in between. And I was down to 1 inch, 1/10 of a second when it came to Christian Gonzalez and obviously Nolan Smith as well. Aside from the 40-yard dash, I did not think he was going to run a 4.3 40-yard dash. I knew he was going to be fast. I didn't think he was going to be that fast. He just elevated his stock a tad. a tad. Edgar says, what would you do with pick number 7? I talked about this on the earlier live stream. Again, we have to see how the draft board falls. If a guy like Christian Gonzalez falls to them at 7, do you take that player at 7, which he'll be available there at 7? Or would you rather solidify the offensive line, give Jimmy Garoppolo every chance to have success? I would like the notion of going ahead and building up the lines. Like, I'm a firm believer in building up the lines and the rest will follow. Now, I'm not just going to build up the lines if, again, the player is inferior to a guy like Christian Gonzalez, right? I'm going to go BPA all the time. Take the best player available. I don't care regardless of the position, right? Because a luxury today could be a necessity tomorrow, right? So you don't want to go and use that logic and be like, oh yeah, we need an offensive tackle. This is reach for that tackle. And hopefully he pans out. DJ Fluker, GM Tom Telesco. I'm joking, kind of not. I thought that was a reach. Even being a Roll Tide Roll fan, I was like, man, what are you doing? Said it in real time. You guys know who DJ Fluker is? Look him up. Behemoth of an offensive tackle. He's a behemoth. Has the 40-inch arm length. Played in the coveted SEC. Oh man. I go back and I just like I love draft time. If you guys haven't noticed, we can talk about all 32 GMs. Like we really could. We really could. Like if you were to name drop the teams, I will tell you off the top of my head the GMs. I will. If you don't believe me, do it. Try it. Victor Burris says, get Christian Gonzalez with 7. We have always had secondary. I like Christian Gonzalez a lot. The Colorado transfer, now going to Oregon. He has the fluid hips. He has that second gear. We saw the 4.38 speed. This guy is just amazing. I thought he was going to run a 4.37 before the combine. He ran a 4.38. Dang it, 1/10 of a second off. But if you go back last year, I mean, I'm pretty good when grading the snap, not the box score, and then cross-checking that with the measurables. I think they're going to run, think how high they're going to jump, and so forth. But go back to the Denver Broncos. Look what I said about Javonte Williams in real time, what he was going to run based on grading the snap, not the box score. You can do it out here on YouTube. Just type in Javonte Williams, BEASTwriter. Yeah. But there's a lot of good players, like I said, coming out of this draft. Look, if you guys have questions, go ahead and shoot me a super chat or super sticker. I'll go ahead and answer those for you. Also, give this video a thumbs up. There's 34 of you guys watching now. I just wanted to hop on and clear the air when it came to Darren Waller being traded, on if it was a good move or bad move, if it was a lateral move. I thought at the end of the day, it was a solid move. Now, is it the best move? I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best move because who do they have at tight end? Like, there's no one there at tight end. So how GM Dave Ziegler's team scouting department leverage the draft capital that they have with the multiple compensation that they have, having 2 compensatory picks and so forth. How are they going to leverage this upcoming draft to make sure that Jimmy Garoppolo has a tight end that he can work with for the foreseeable future? It's interesting. It's interesting. Jeremy Willis, my guy, says Christian Gonzalez or Brian Branch. Yep, ran grades on Brian Branch as well. If you followed me on Twitter, graded his snap, not the box score. And you guys will have to see what I had to say about Brian Branch. He's also the Raider way mentality. So again, you want a cluster of players. You want to talk about trading down from 7, getting cluster players. He's in that cluster that I talked about in an earlier Pick 6 live streams. Look, you guys are going to want to check out my previous stuff that I had to say in real time because all that's still relevant. It's relevant like 2 years later, a lot of the stuff, because I will project the future. 20 Rabbit says, would you ever be interested in being employed by the Raiders as a strength and conditioning coach or a scouting department? This question always comes up. It came up with the San Francisco 49ers. It came up with every team that it's a running joke in NFL circles. Because look, to be the strength and conditioning coach, yeah, that would be like a cool thing to do, but I don't know if I'd want to do that. But you never know. And then as far as scouting, I mean, that obviously we talked about that before. Talked to a lot of people about it actually before, scouts and execs and so forth. And it's just it's one thing that's always been on the back of my mind. But at the end of the day, it's like the right opportunity has to present itself. Like the right opportunity it has to make sense for me to go ahead and switch up what I'm doing right now to go ahead and take that leap of faith and do that. But honestly, I mean, I struggled with that over the years. I just don't. I don't know. We'll see. You never know. You never know. But no, I am very happy with what I'm doing, covering the Raiders as a beat writer. I think that's my sole purpose. If I had to say right now, even if the opportunity came up, what would I do? I'd probably stay on with the Raiders as a beat writer. I just have too much fun doing what I'm doing. I just have too much fun doing this, and there's no pressure. When you're a scout, there's tons of pressure. Like, oh, okay, yeah, your beast receipts check out, but now you actually have to do it and get paid. We're paying you to actually it wouldn't make a difference, huh? Because the beast receipts check out. I don't know. We'll see. It's just not as easy as it sounds. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a lot of traveling time. You'll be living out of a duffel bag. Probably wouldn't have this look because I'd be traveling all the time. So I'd be doing these home workouts or homegrown workouts, as I like to call them, or find a hotel gym down the street and try and work out there. Nah, it's too much. It's too much. But you never know. Herman says, always good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Perez57 said, who's your favorite sleeper player in the draft? Man, okay, what is considered a sleeper? Sleeper players in the NFL draft, do not get mad at me for calling a round 3 prospect a sleeper who I project to go in round 3 when I see a round 2 talent. To me, that could be a sleeper, right? Because technically, I valued him at round 2, but he went in the tail end of round 3, almost round 4. Look, I really like Dante Stills. Oh, you're biased because I really do. Jose Ramirez. I like those guys. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of teams that are high on them. I know for a fact. These guys are going to get drafted, and we're going to look back at this draft and say, hey, look, should we have listened to BEASTwriter? I'm joking. We're going to say that. No, but in all, I joke around a lot, guys. If you guys haven't picked up on that. So don't take everything I say so literally. Oh, you said no. I really like those two guys though. I really do. I think those guys are great. I think have good head on. Look, I spoke not only to them, got to know them on a personal level, became friends with them, but also on top of that, talked to their coaches. Like, what do the coaches say about them? Like, for real. Like, if you want to get the real answer, you need to talk to a lot of people outside the coaches, right? How does he treat the facilities guy? How does he treat the janitor? How does he treat the people at school, like his peers, like the teachers, the professors? Like, how does he treat those people? Oh, let's go back and peel back layers. Let's go back. Oh, if you find something, then you have to go back and be like, okay, let's talk to his middle school teacher. How was he like? Was he good in school? Did he pay attention in class? Like, what would he do? Is he goofing off? And then high school, like, okay. So there's different layers to it. But I honestly, with those two guys, I think they're squeaky clean. I don't know. That's just me. Jeremy West says, do you trust Jalen Carter? The answer is no. I do not trust Jalen Carter. Now watch Jalen Carter get drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders at number 7, and he comes and eats me in the locker room. So, oh, you call yourself a beast? I'm going to pancake you and eat you. Look, I talked about Jalen Carter with my guy Zeus White in the locker room during the season, because it's funny because Zeus was like, oh, he's like, I was like, what do you think about Jalen Carter? He's like, Jalen Carter. I was like, yeah, man, I'm watching him, and I mean, I watched him before, obviously, because Jordan Davis. If you guys see my Twitter receipts that I posted up when I was grading Jordan Davis, my boy Nakobe Dean, and some of these other guys like Darian Kendrick. You talk about these types of players and be like, oh, there's one guy that really stood out for me, and that was Jalen Carter. Just like when I graded the Chicago Bears, right? On every snap of their games, and they had Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, and obviously they had all these other players. Alec Ogletree, I think, was there at some point. I said there's one player that really stood out, Akeem Hicks, and I was like, there's one defensive front seven that stood out, and that's Bilal Nichols. So there was no drop off in production when Bilal Nichols came to the Las Vegas Raiders, because I was like, oh man, I have grades on this. This is perfect. But when it comes to Jalen Carter, I like what I see on film. I question his motor. I shouldn't say I don't question his motor. I question his conditioning. There's a difference between the two. I question his conditioning, and I said that before his pro day where he couldn't finish because of cramping. I said it before his pro day because I was grading the snap, not the box score. I was like, man, I question his conditioning. Now, is that all on Jalen Carter? No. Why? Because Georgia blew out all these teams by double digits more times than not. So you're not going to want to play a. But at the end of the day, it's like, I did see it, even in spot duty sometimes. And with the off-field stuff that's going on, do you want that headache? Now, I shouldn't say you want that headache. That's totally wrong of me. Do you want to bring that in knowing that that is looming over your head? Make sense? Or would you rather have Peter Skoronsky? I like Peter Skoronsky. Let me get one right. Let me get Peter Skoronsky. I don't care how you get him, Raiders. Just get Peter Skoronsky. I'd be happy with Christian Gonzalez too. I'd be happy with Brian Branch as well. I'd be happy with a lot of these different players who are in the cluster from the 12 to 18 range. But if you see Peter Skoronsky there and you view him as an offensive tackle or an offensive guard, I would draft him. Jeremy says, I love Drew Sanders. I love him in round 2 with Christian Gonzalez, Jalen Carter, or Brian Branch in round. I love Drew Sanders too. Roll Tide roll. Upset that he transferred, but hey, look, I understand you weren't getting playing time. Coach Saban wasn't giving you playing time, so you transferred. I get it. I do like Drew Sanders. The guy's fast. T. Malafu Film says, sounds like a lot of hard work, sleepless nights to be a scout. Yeah. But there's really no drop off in doing that and what I'm doing today because I don't sleep. Like, literally, I function off 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I mean, I'm not joking. To come on and hop on a live stream, to have a conviction about what I'm saying about every NFL player, or I shouldn't say every NFL player, but the majority of NFL players are the good ones, or the ones I want to pay attention to, and then also the college prospect, and then hopping on and talking about these players and saying what rounds they're going to go in based on what GMs are going to do around the league. That's a lot of work. You're like the pro personnel department, plus the scouting department, plus all this. A Raiders reporter. It's a lot of work. And then also having to work out, 4 hours every single day, get my meals in because they're time sensitive. So you hit the anabolic window, post workout. It's a lot. Do that every single day or the life. It's a lot. That's called consistency. If you want to get ahead in the game in life, consistency is key, right? No days off. There's no days off here in the DOB. I'm telling you right now, there's no days off here in the dark side of BEASTwriter. You go to EOS right here on St. Rose Parkway, you'll see me at the gym more times than not. You'll see me running around EOS. So I do my morning fasted cardio run sometimes. You guys saw the video I posted on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it was funny. I was doing my morning fasted cardio run and it was snowing. I was like, oh crap, I'm in a cutoff. I wasn't cold, but it started snowing. I was like, that's weird. Like, I'm not used to having snow. I'm from the Bay Area. And then it started snowing in the Bay Area. I was like, this is weird. I don't know. Must be a thing. Molly Film says, but it's better than a 9 to 5. It is. Hey, if you're not willing, that's all I say, man. If you're not willing to grind it out 24/7, what's the saying? If not willing to work a 9 to 5, be willing to hustle 24/7. All right. So if you're not willing to work a 9 to 5, be willing to hustle 24/7. I don't have a 9 to 5. I'm self-employed. I do my own thing. So like when it's 5 p.m., I do something else. I continue that grind. Like I continue working, formulate my analysis for my next live stream or for my next static video for all of you guys to hop on, or for my next reel that I'm posting with my workouts or whatever the case may be. Also, if you guys haven't tried goalie gummies, use my code BEASTwriter. You'll get 20% off. You guys haven't had goalie gummies? It's legit. I take it all the time. Apple cider vinegar, ashwagandha, KSM 66. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you guys don't know, holler at your boy. I'll get you guys on a supplement plan. But anyways, there is 39 of you guys watching. I hope you guys like what I had to say. Look, we are doing a DOB giveaway. If you guys are just tuning in, hit the like button. There's 39 of you guys. So hit this like button. We are giving away this Raiders helmet once we hit 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And also on Twitter and also on Instagram, if we hit our numbers there as well. We're going to be launching more of this silver and black swag as a thank you for all of you guys for supporting me. And again, the bigger we get, the bigger the prizes. So the best thing you can do if you're watching on Twitter, just retweet the video. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and copy and share it. You guys can share it on Facebook. You guys can share it on Instagram in your Instagram story. You guys can share it on all those social media platforms. Twitter, I just said retweet the video. That's free. And then people who do that will also, there's an algorithm that I have that keeps track of everything, and you guys will be entered for our weekly giveaways outside of hitting our milestones, right? So there's a lot of cool stuff that we do here in the DOB as a thank you for all of you guys for just supporting me. And again, I wouldn't be where I am without you guys in my corner. So again, like I said, a lot of good stuff coming in when it comes to the silver and black. I had a lot of fun time in my first year. Now entering year 2, nothing but good vibes only, and hopefully those good vibes continue. But yeah, it's a lot of things going on here. But I just want to say a quick thank you to all those who sent me a super chat or super sticker. After this video concludes, you guys can send me what's called a super thanks. It's a heart icon, and you guys can donate straight through YouTube as well. And if you're watching on Facebook, you guys can also follow me at Dark Side of BEASTwriter. I have a public Facebook page and a private Facebook group. And so we're trying to grow those social media platforms as well. So we're on it all. Because that's what I do. But thank you so much, Daniel Kim. I appreciate the super chat and super sticker, my man. It really means a lot. I'm going to talk to you after I hop off this live stream, making sure that you're okay. But thank you so much for supporting me here in the DOB today on the Pick 6 at 6 live stream. And Edgar Bonilla, thank you so much to you and for welcoming me into the Raider Nation. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys had fun. If you guys like what I had to say, again, drop your comments. And let's go ahead and start the discussion. The whole thing about the DOB is you guys having a voice, right? And I think from a fan perspective, I think I always wanted to be heard, right? When I was a fan, I wanted to be heard. Right or wrong, respectfully heard, right? And so we all can have disagreements on things, and I think that's very healthy. So I want to engage with you guys. Just be respectful to other people if you guys don't disagree or agree with their analysis or insight, because again, we really don't know. And does our decision really matter in the end anyways? No, we're not the ones making the decision. So who gives a crap what you or anyone else thinks or what I think? Like we don't make the decision. So no one really gives a crap, right? At the end of the day, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And then it's on to the next transaction. So yeah, it's all about good vibes only here in the DOB. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. Give this video a thumbs up. Tell all your family and friends about the DOB here on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and also on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.